week, or we are a few days away, rather, from announcing a NASCAR Cup Series champion, and I promise you it will go a lot faster than how fast it is going to decide a president right now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Extra Mile for today, November the 5th, 2020. Daryl Kinsey Jr. is here with you. Michael Ward, Christopher Lehman also here. There is a lot going on in the world of racing and, of course, politics as well. Lewis Hamilton has one hand firmly on the trophy and looks poised to lift it up at the conclusion of the Turkish GP in just a couple of weeks. And in the NASCAR Cup Series, 4 drivers remain, and one of the drivers we expected didn't make the cut. We're going to talk about all that, but first I got to welcome my guys in, Christopher, Michael. Thank you guys so much for joining me. How are you guys doing, and are you staying sane with all the election stuff going on?
Barely.
Yep, doing my best.
Good to hear, good to hear. Let me go ahead and pull this music now. I know, Christopher, you have been busy out there with harvest season. I know Michael and I have both been busy with our clash-related stuff as well. The election news has completely sucked me in, which is weird because for my future career, you know, I don't really want to be a political reporter. I've seen what they go through. That is not for me. That's the short version of that answer. But this election day stuff has been, as a reporter, has been absolutely fascinating to follow.
Yeah, it's got to make for good ratings for the TV because people are glued to it waiting for Nevada.
Yeah, they're waiting for Nevada. We're waiting for Arizona. We're waiting for Pennsylvania. Georgia is also doing things. Like, there's so much going on, and this will continue probably into tomorrow. We're hoping tonight. We're not going to spend the entire show on the election, obviously, but if there is an official announcement that the race is over, we will announce that, obviously, here and tell you what's going on. But for now, let's get into the racing stuff. We've only got NASCAR and Formula One to talk about, so maybe a little bit shorter show than usual. But we will start with NASCAR. We will start with everything that went down at Martinsville. And the first thing I want to ask you guys, was that race amazing or what?
It was definitely drama-filled, that's for sure.
I agree. Yeah, there was a lot of storylines. Martinsville was going to put on a show, and I think it delivered to our expectation.
Excuse me, sorry. That's allergies, not Rona. So, when the schedule first got announced, and they said that Martinsville was going to be the deciding race on who goes to the championship for, I think we all unanimously as a NASCAR community said, this is going to be the wildest race of the year, and it's going to be incredible. We were right. I will say it, we were right, because there was drama all day, and it was all surrounded with Kevin Harvick, who Harvick struggled here in the spring. So the concern was, okay, when we come back here, hope that car is right, because they're going to be in trouble if they don't. But a lot of us thought that, you know, he would have ran well at Texas and locked his spot in and went into Martinsville really just having to cruise around. Well, they let Kyle Busch win that race. Not from a lack of trying. Kevin Harvick had damage that he had to come back from because they decided to run 20 laps of that race on a rapidly wetting surface at Texas before, you know, the deluge came in. So he comes into Martinsville actually having to do things. And guys, in this new setup, and I guess we can start with Christopher this time, you know, you can't have 2 bad races anymore in this system and think you're going to go to the next round in the best of times. And Harvick just had 2 of his worst races of the season back to back.
Yeah, that's exactly what this proved. Sorry, I'm trying to eat dinner here and talk at the same time. So, yeah, that's exactly what this proved. if anyone was going to be able to points their way in with a couple bad races, it was going to be Harvick. At the beginning of the round, I had said that I didn't think one of the big two was making it, and I was right. I got the wrong one, but you have to put together 3 solid performances every week, even just momentum. Like Joey Logano, he still's got to run good the next 2 races. He needs to go into Phoenix with momentum, and I think that Kevin Harvick. Spoiler alert: Kevin Harvick, I think, wins this week. I think your champion driver is going to finish second or third. But Kevin Harvick just didn't do good this week or these past 2 weeks, and he's out as a result.
And as we go in, there was some controversy in this excuse me. There was some controversy in this event, and T in the chat basically brings up the major point, which was Chase Elliott's penalty that was rescinded. And Taryn says, what do you all think of Chase Elliott's penalty being rescinded? Now, that was the man over the wall too soon. I have the tweet up from Bob Pockrass, and I'm going to read the entire rule so everyone understands what happened here. Crew members' feet and or pit equipment must not touch the pit road surface where the vehicle is 1 pit box away from its assigned pit box or the equivalent marked distance. Should a crew member's feet prematurely touch the pit road surface prior to servicing the vehicle, said crew member or members can establish their position back to or behind service wall prior to serving the vehicle to avoid a penalty. The jackman for Chase Elliott went off the wall too soon. We all saw it. He got back to the wall and then went around to the car. He reestablished himself, and that's good on him for knowing the rules, and I would not have known that, to be honest. I wouldn't have remembered that in the heat of the battle. He did. He was able to get back, reset, come around, service the car. It was a slow as crap stop, but he didn't cost Chase any time, and that decision by that crew member, that jackman, is the reason Chase Elliott now is in the championship 4. There's been a lot of controversy about whether or not this should have been rescinded. What do you guys think? Do you think it should have stood, or do you think he reestablished himself?
Nah, I think he reestablished himself because it's clear that he went down and then, realized what was happening and then went back up. And, he lost time in the pit lane, which is a penalty enough in itself. So I think it was fine. He realized he made a mistake and got back up there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. NASCAR is trying to take out all the judgment in their rules, and this is there's no judgment here. The rule is black and white. The jackman went over early, reestablished himself, and I just don't see how you can argue this one. It's in the rule book. The jackman completed what he needed to do to reestablish himself. I mean, it's just Chase Elliott hate at this point, and that guy has a big fat check waiting for him back at Hendrick because they're on to Phoenix, and I'm just saying, while he jumped over early, he saved him too.
Look, that guy was about to get cussed out until they rescinded that penalty, yo. And you could see it on his face when he was cleaning the pit box, like, oh my God, I'm about to get fired, I'm about to get fired, I'm about to get fired. And then they rescinded the penalty. It's like, okay, good. I know he was thinking about he was going to have to update his resume when he got back from Martinsville.
He was on his way to Rick Ware Racing.
Hey, they're bringing out 2 Xfinity Series cars next season, so they're going to have openings.
Yeah, I did see that.
I don't know. Look, everyone is complaining about... People are trying to figure out where Rick Ware is getting his money. To be honest, I kind of am too, because the cars he's got are not the fastest, yet he keeps opening up teams. I know they're getting ready for the next gen stuff, but wow, dude, I really think if you focus those resources somewhere else, the current Cup cars he'd have would be a lot faster. But look, he's doing it his way. I'm not going to complain much, but we're just going to let it go. Anyway, So that happens, and then Chase and Martin Truex Jr., two of the best, or it's Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin, three of the best drivers at this racetrack are battling. Truex and I was about to say Hamilton. Oh my goodness. Truex and Elliott are battling for their championship for lives. Hamlin also battling for his championship for life. Kevin Harvick is struggling, trying to get back on the lead lap. And you got to say, as I'm watching this race, people talk about, oh, the old system was better, the old system was better. If we had the old point system, this race would not have mattered. No one would care because Harvick would have won the championship last week at Texas, and this race would have just been a formality at this point.
Yeah, I agree. It just would have been a formality at this point. But go ahead.
And the reason I bring it up is because this format, and a lot of people don't understand this, it influences the racing we see, especially during this. I don't know why my allergies are acting up so badly today. It affects this. It affects the racing that we see during this time of the season, because usually guys like Kevin Harvick would have just laid up and been racing for top tens. He had to desperately continue to try and race for wins, especially after Texas went the way it did. Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. were fighting like scalded dogs because they had to try and get into the championship four. If they didn't, if it was the old system, they wouldn't have been racing like that. The win would have still been at stake, but their seasons are over. So why are they, their seasons would have been over. Harvick's a champion, so they wouldn't have been pushing as hard because the only thing you're getting, other than a grandfather clock, let me not, understate that the grandfather clock you get at Martinsville is really freaking cool. But there's no championship implications if Chase Elliott wins that race under the old system. And what people fail to understand is the reason NASCAR did this because their season is so dreadfully long that they needed to make all 36 races matter. All 36 races now matter into the fabric of what makes a NASCAR season. And after the race they just had at Martinsville on Sunday, that Xfinity 500, this system's not going anywhere.
Not for a while.
No.
It promotes. I want to say it definitely promotes, more drama at the end of the season because you have a lot of drivers who have to get up and go to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And it also promotes, heavier racing and everything like that. So, as long, and also, because of this racing and it's bringing in more viewers and everything like that, it's not going to go away. Like, if it's making the sport popular, why would you make it go away?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have some people complain because, in NASCAR, I like to say that, there are two sides to NASCAR. There's the traditionalists, and then there's the people who want, change for it to go forward. So you're always going to have that conflict. Me, I personally like the playoffs because it does promote a more dramatic season.
Mm-hmm.
So, personally, I think the playoff format should stay. I don't know about what Christopher feels, but I personally feel like the playoffs is, what the sport needs. And, Harvick, he's been dominant all season. I'm not even going to hold that. He's been really dominant all season. But he just had, two bad races. And I know what you're saying is, and I know what some people are like, well, if he has, he's been dominant all season, he should really be fighting for the championship. Well, not necessarily. You can win 9 races in not just any format, but you can win a good amount of races and still, not win the championship. But, playoffs is not just a, hard racing series, but it's also a strategic one. You have to plan when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. So, I just kind of have to hand it down to bad luck. He had a bad car at Martinsville, and he paid the price for it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Um, the whole point of the playoffs is to get those ratings for all 36 races,
Yep.
and it gives it gives some chances to some underdogs. I'm a huge college basketball fan. I love when March comes around and the whole country is tuning in to the March Madness basketball tournament. Look at 2018. Number 1 overall seed loses to number 16 seed UMBC. The country is not saying, well, that's ridiculous. Why did the University of Maryland just beat the University of Virginia?
By the
No,
way,
they were celebrating.
just to stop you, Michael and I are, well, Michael was in Maryland at the time. It was a party up here in UMBC when that game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Exactly. The whole country was celebrating with them. We weren't saying, well, they shouldn't be competing. Why were they there? No, we were saying that was an awesome game that they played. 2007, the New England Patriots, 16-0 regular season, they lose in the Super Bowl. Just because you're the best all year doesn't mean you're the champion. When it comes to the playoffs, you have to be consistent. Just like in the March Madness basketball tournament, you have to be firing on all cylinders every game you play. Otherwise, you're out.
Yep.
So Kevin Harvick, he had a hell of a year. It was fantastic. I'm sure the Harvick fans loved it. Me, not so much. But at the end of the day, he's not racing for the championship. He had a bad round. He knew that going into the season. He knew it going into last season. He knew it going into this round. So at the end of the day, he's not in it, but the playoffs should not change. It makes the last 10 weeks relevant.
And here is the question I was actually going to pose to all of you, and I think I kind of know your answer, Christopher, and you, Michael, as well. The big thing that people were talking about was that NASCAR should make a change, that the regular season champion should get an automatic bye into the championship 4. And I'm gonna let you guys answer that question, and then I'm gonna give my answer. Do you really think that's a good idea?
Let me jump in first on this one, Michael.
Okay.
So the New England Patriots are your 2007 regular season, 16-0. No one's better than them. Should they just go automatically to, let's not say the Super Bowl, but should they be an automatic bid to the AFC Conference Championship? No, absolutely not. Presumably, the person who finishes the NASCAR season with the regular season championship most likely is going to have such an advantage points-wise in the round of 16 that it's almost impossible for that driver not to make it onto the round of 12. Now, if you said, hey, the regular season championship or the regular season champion makes it into the round of 12 with an automatic bid, okay, I'm all for it. But to say that they go to the championship 4, absolutely ridiculous. It's unwarranted. A good regular season does not mean you're good in the playoffs. And in the playoffs, it's a whole different set of pressure. And you're either good with that pressure or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes a champion. You have to perform under pressure.
And I want to cut in real quickly because T, and I know I've gotten his pronunciation name now, but I just love that nickname. So that's going to stick now. So Big T down there in the chat says, Orange Coast College was 22-0 and number 1 seed going into the Triple C AA men's volleyball semifinals and lost to a 4 seed. The playoffs are a different animal. And we can come at this from multiple different sports, but I'm going to let Michael go, then I'm going to go.
I don't think they should get an automatic ticket into the Final Four. You know, it's the regular season for a reason. You know, you congratulations, you won the regular season. This is where the real deal starts. Mm-hmm. All right, it's a total mindset because let's think about it. All right, people are interested in the championship. They're not interested in, the regular season. So, most of these guys that and this is happening for years now. The regular championship doesn't mean absolutely nothing. Kyle Busch won that thing last year, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that's nice."
Mhm.
It doesn't mean anything. They want the actual championship of the series. So I think the playoffs is fine where it is because it promotes this different type of racing, this different type of energy. Teams are more aggressive this time around. People want to win. So to give it to the regular season champion, I don't think so because this is where the real race begins.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all been having fun. This is time to get serious. So I think the regular season champion shouldn't get a lock into the final four.
I don't either. And Matthew Owens, who I broadcasted with on USRN on Sunday, he said it in our group chat, or he may have tweeted this as well. The Mariners won 116 games and didn't make it out to ALCS. The Patriots thing is well known. The 73-9 Warriors were up 3-1, did not win the championship. The Atlanta Falcons had a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. We know how that turned out. This happens in sports all the time. We've seen it in the playoffs before. Carl Edwards, 2011, one of the greatest Chase era seasons of all time, probably the best Chase season, in my opinion. Carl Edwards went into the chase with being the odds-on favorite to win the championship. Tony Stewart won 5 races, including Homestead, tied it at Homestead, and won on a technicality. Or not really a technicality, won by a tiebreaker. The only time in NASCAR history the tiebreaker had to be used to decide the championship. It's just how this type of racing / basketball, football, whatever, it's just what the playoffs do. Sometimes if you're the best team, you have one bad day, and that's it. Kevin Harvick had 2 bad days, and that was it. He should not get an automatic lock into the championship just by winning the regular season championship, because it really messes with the dichotomy of the final round before the championship 4. Because if you get the way it's set right now, one driver still gets in by points. If you lock somebody in, that basically only allows one spot if 2 playoff drivers win in the first round, and they usually do. So, like what Kyle Busch did was the first time, I think in 3 years in this round, we had somebody that wasn't in the playoffs win it. So, you mess with the entire psychology of the championship 8 or the round of 8. And the other thing, you shouldn't get an automatic buy into the championship just because you were good in the first 26. He got the greatest advantage anyone could get. Michael knows it when Martin Truex Jr. won his championship. He had all those bonus points and ran so consistently well in the rounds before that he locked in to the final by starting his engine at Texas. He locked into Homestead and ended up winning the championship. The path for the number 1 seed is clear with all the bonus points you get. Be as consistent as you were in the first 26, you're going to get into the championship 4. You have 2 bad races in the playoffs, going to be a little bit harder. You have 2 bad races back-to-back in the round before the one that decides whether or not you go to race for a championship. You're Kevin Harvick on the last lap trying to dump Kyle Busch, and you saw what happened there. Kevin Harvick is out.
About that, can we talk about how Kyle Busch did a perfect 360?
I was actually going to bring that up. Like, he absolutely saved that thing and kept his position. That was incredible. Like, that was one of the saves of the year.
That was really cool to watch.
And there was
Like, I felt
one
bad for Harvick, obviously. Like,
I
that save was, whew.
Harvick did what he was supposed to do. Like, he just dove it in, tried to get him around, and just couldn't do it.
My mouth was like wide open when that happened. I was so shocked.
I think everyone
Because
was.
because like everyone was just like, what would you do for a championship? And I'm like, wait, this is Martinsville. I'm like, is he gonna dump somebody? And sure enough, he tried to.
Look, you're going to get the wood. Look, if you're running in front of a playoff contender on the last lap at Martinsville going forward and they need to get by you to get in the playoffs, just prepare to get dumped. Either move or you will be moved from Black Panther, because that's basically what's going to happen. And honestly, if Harvick did that move going into 3, he gets in. He tried to do it out of 4, lost control, and spun around.
So this brings up my other thing I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how Eric Jones was behind Denny Hamlin, right?
Yep, and I was actually about to bring that up, so continue.
So Denny's in front of Eric, and Eric is clearly the faster car. He was about to pass him in some ways, but he backs off, and a lot of people are just like, "That's not right. That's not right." They just did team orders at Joe Gibbs Racing. I'm like, no. There's no way you could have proved that, because I'm not trying to. Well, actually, I might as well say it. Eric Jones ain't much of a driver in my opinion. Maybe if he gets to another team, yeah. But I'm just like, he's no Denny Hamlin. So I legit just thought he couldn't pass him.
Look, here's what I will say about that. Team orders has been a part of oval racing, but it has been a part of open wheel racing, sports car racing. We see it all the time in Formula One. It's a part of racing when you have multiple cars. Sometimes you use the team cars and you move them around to help the guy that is doing well in the championship. That is what Joe Gibbs Racing did. If they coordinated that, I have no problem with it. As long as they're not doing a spin gate thing, I don't care what they do. Like, tell the guy to...
It's confirmed they told Eric to, slow down, because on the Radioactive show, you can clearly hear the guy just go, just don't pass him, Eric.
I mean, it is what it is.
Which I thought was funny, because he's just like, these... It even happened on the during the race, but he's just like, you're about to leave this team next year. Why do you care? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, is Eric about to just be like, why do I care, and just pass him anyway? I thought that was going to happen, but no. Eric Jones was Eric Jones, and, yeah.
Christopher, what did you think of the whole team orders controversy?
So, and I said this on Twitter too. I think that if Eric Jones is right behind Denny Hamlin, and Eric Jones' team, whether it be a spotter, crew chief, whoever, says, "Hey, Denny is one spot to the good," and Eric on his own makes the decision, "Okay, I'm not going to pass him," then that is fine. That is Eric's choice. He's the competitor. He's in the car. They are not explicitly telling him, don't pass him. They're just saying, hey, just so you know, buddy, he's one to the good. Mm-hmm. However, where I take issue is when they say, do not pass the 11. Mm-hmm. That is where I take issue, and that's where it becomes race manipulation. If it's just, hey, he's 1 point to the good, and there's nothing said about not passing him, fine, because that's the racer's choice. But the minute that it comes from the team saying, do not do this, or, whatever, especially when it comes to a teammate in the playoffs, that's where I take an issue on race manipulation.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think I'm more used to it because Formula One, they do it all the time with moving guys out the way or pitting guys, to give the other driver an advantage. I think I'm kind of used to it, but I get the people that don't like it the other way. I can't say that if I had two cars and one's going for the championship and one's not, that I would not make the same decision. I probably wouldn't broadcast it like that, but we would probably talk about it before the race and say, look, if he's in a position where he needs to make the playoffs, I can't tell you not to pass him. All I can tell you is big picture and figure it out from there. Like, if you still want to pass him, at least don't wreck him. I think I go as far as saying that. I don't think I would have a problem with saying, look, let him through or something. But it's something that the teams have to deal with now due to this playoff system and everybody having multiple cars. And it's something that they have to be easy with in terms of making calls where you don't want to get slapped with that 100% rule violation, because we've seen already how poorly NASCAR comes on race manipulation. Go ask Michael Waltrip Racing. Oh, wait, they don't exist anymore.
Damn, just gotta throw out the fact that they don't exist anymore, huh?
I'm just saying, they're not here no more, and you know why. So we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into Formula One. We're going to talk about, what is the name of this race? I don't know why they didn't call it the San Marino Grand Prix, but we had a third F1 race in Italy. Lewis Hamilton ended up picking up the victory, but there's a lot to talk about, and we're going to get to that on the other side of this break here.
Wait, there
on the
is?
Extra Mile. There is actually a lot to talk about in that race, Michael, and we're going to talk about it on the other side of this break on the Extra Mile 90 Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You gotta check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey,
Oh,
guys.
Been a
So-
while.
We've been having like this whole 5-minute conversation. I thought I had unmuted us, and come to find out, I had not unmuted us. So that's a good thing because I stuck my foot in my mouth and you guys didn't hear it. But welcome back to the Extra Mile here on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Daryl
I'll
and
tell you
Michael
what
are
he
with
said. He said,
you. Michael,
I
no.
forgot.
Christopher's not with us because unfortunately he split his tooth while eating, and I don't know if any of you out there have actually split a tooth, but it is one of the worst pains you can ever experience, and it was starting to get to that painful place. So he's going to dip out, probably go pop an aspirin and lay down because that's what I'd do.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and aspirin is not gonna help that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can.
It's gonna
think of.
dull it. It's gonna dull it, but it's still gonna be there.
Nothing of importance, T. Nothing of importance. So we're going to continue with the show. We're going to talk about what is the name of this race?
The Grand Prix Romagna is, but I can't pronounce it all.
Yeah, that. I don't know why they didn't just call this the San Marino Grand Prix. Formula One decided to get really cute with the names for some reason of these replaced races on this absolutely ridiculous schedule. Hold on, I'm trying to actually get to Formula1.com.
I think it's because they're not permanent races.
I mean, that's
So they
fine.
gotta-
So it's called the
they
San
gotta,
Marino
like-
GP.
I guess I'm like they're not regular races. So I guess they gotta make them stand out. I don't know.
Yeah, the Formula One dell'Emilia Romagna 2020. That's what it is. Lita, our resident Italian, is not here, nor is Larry. They would help me with that pronunciation. I think I got that right, but who knows? We will continue. I don't have to tell you who won the race. If I did, you have not been listening all season. But Lewis Hamilton won. Valtteri Bottas second. Daniel
What a
Ricciardo
surprise.
finished third. Right.
Yeah,
Daniel
it's
Ricciardo-
his second podium. That was awesome.
Yep, and the reason that happened is because Max Verstappen passed Valtteri Bottas going into second, and then the rear tire exploded.
Yeah, that was crazy when that happened.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Thankfully, he was okay. That ends Verstappen's challenge. And you would think Alexander Albon would be able to take over, but he also spun.
In a
Yeah.
race weekend where he needed to not do that.
Alexander Albon has not had a good season, and we talked about the Red Bull situation last week. At this point, Albon's racing for his job. He's probably not going to have it after this season. And this has
I'm
been
not sure because Red Bull's acting really weird because, of course, I don't know if you guys heard it this weekend, but Yuki Tsunoda is training in that car now, and Daniel Kvyat has yet to have been confirmed for next year. In fact, there's been people saying Helmut Marko has basically confirmed that he's not going to be at AlphaTauri next year.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm not quite sure because they brought Yuki Tsunoda to practice at San Marino. So I'm just like, that's the only way Albon gets the race is he's demoted. So he could possibly be out in general. Like he could be out of a seat. He might not be in F1 next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know because Pierre Gasly has also been confirmed at AlphaTauri. So they don't really have anywhere to, demote Albon to. So the only thing they can really do with Albon is just, he might actually be out of a ride next year.
Yeah. I think he's going to not be in F1 anymore, and it's sad because he never really got the opportunity to show what he could do because we know how Red Bull works. They get their one driver, that's the guy they're going to push for, and the second guy is just basically there to run the other car around because they're legally required to have two cars in Formula One. That's all it is, and unfortunately, Albon's got all this pressure because he wants to prove what he can do, and he ends up wrecking the car or spinning out or struggling. It's been a struggle for him, and maybe going somewhere else or going to another racing series in general may help him out.
Yeah, hopefully, and even then, he might actually enjoy that other racing series.
Always come to IndyCar.
IndyCar, a lot of former F1 drivers have found success in WEC, so he's got some options if he decides to, not pursue Formula One.
And if he wants to sorry about the yawn, but if he wants to stay in Formula One, he could always stay over and run in for Haas. Try that.
I don't think he's going to be able to go in Haas because Haas seems, if they don't have Mick Schumacher and not Mazepin, but Schwartzman in Haas next year, I don't know what to think because Ferrari still has some, their fingers still dug into that team.
Yeah.
And Raikkonen and Giovinazzi, which if there's any driver that should have been given the boot a long time ago, it's Giovinazzi, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I would suspect that those two seats are going to be filled with Schumacher and Schwartzman next year.
Yeah, that's going to be two rookies that Haas is going to be taking on. I don't know what that's going to do for the development of the car. It might help. It may not. But it's anything better than the alternative that they've had.
And, the second driver, the second driver at Aston Martin hasn't been confirmed, but let's be honest, that's probably Stroll.
I mean, it's Stroll. We just need to know who's going to be taking the seat in the other seat, which I think they've confirmed Vettel.
Yeah, they confirmed Vettel.
So it's going to be Vettel and Stroll over there. Like, I don't see Stroll leaving. I mean, his dad bought the team. It's the only reason that team exists right now.
And, other than that, I'm not sure where else Albon could go. Yeah, there's no real location he can go to.
Yeah. On the other side, poor George Russell.
Yeah, it doesn't really that didn't really help the rumors around him either that Williams is going to give him the sack for maybe Perez.
I feel so sad for him because he was on his way to points. He was in 10th position, finally going to get points, was just trying to warm up the tires under the safety car, lit them bad boys up, and stuffed it in the wall.
Yeah.
In the most embarrassing incident since Ericsson spun me. I feel so sorry for the guy. I really do. Like, he looked like he needed a hug.
Yeah, he did.
Like, jeez, man.
That doesn't take away from my opinion that he's still a great driver.
Oh, no, he is a great driver.
Yeah, like, that's not taken away from any of my opinions.
Mm-hmm. He's a great driver, and people try to take away from his ability because he hasn't scored points in a Williams. Y'all, Michael Schumacher...
The bitch has scored points in a Williams. I'm like, it's 1 point.
He scored 1 point, and that was on a fluke. Kubica was not that good when he came back. Like, can we please all admit that?
Yeah.
Like, good night, guys. And also, here's the thing. Ayrton Senna is not coming out the grave with Michael Schumacher in his prime, like prime 2000 to 2004 Schumacher in the second car. They are not getting points in those crap boxes they call Williams now.
Yeah.
Like, those cars are not good. Williams knows those cars are not good. It's going to take them a few years to get those cars into relevancy.
Yeah, they have some new sponsorship deals, I heard. So I think right now what they need to focus on is 2022.
At least.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest they do.
And with that being said, of course, Hamilton wins the championship. We go on to Turkey in a couple of weeks. And that means that Lewis Hamilton's going to have a really good chance at wrapping up the championship. How do you think people are going to view this championship for Lewis Hamilton, given the fact that the car was absolutely positively leaps and bounds in front of everybody else because it was designed to challenge a car that no longer exists due to rules violations?
I would say they would say this championship was just business as always.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, it was just business as always. Try to beat Ferrari. It's just Ferrari themselves made the job easier this year. So, yeah, like I said, in my opinion, it's just business as usual. Win championships, and that's it.
The way I look at it, they were set up to race a Ferrari that was a lot stronger at the end of last season than we thought they had coming into this year when they got smacked down by the FIA. They came hunting dragons and no dragons existed. So they had to go hunt everything else. And unfortunately, nobody was prepared for the heck that Mercedes was about to unleash. That is not Lewis Hamilton's fault. In fact, if Lewis Hamilton was still in, Lewis Hamilton probably still wins the championship this year because Leclerc is not yet ready to make a championship challenge and Vettel is washed. And Red Bull is not strong enough to challenge that car. So even if Ferrari had their cheated up car, I still think they lose to this Mercedes. This Mercedes is just far and away faster than everybody else. And I don't think that's Lewis Hamilton's fault. Also, Lewis Hamilton is still a great driver who should already have 7 championships if he doesn't beach it in his rookie season. And then in 2012, with McLaren, he was on his way to win the championship in Abu Dhabi, and the fuel pressure acted up in his McLaren and ended his chance at a title. If he doesn't have that problem, Hamilton wins that 2012 title.
Also happened at Singapore.
Yep, we know that. Yeah, Singapore as well, but he would have won it at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
That car was very unreliable that year, if I remember correctly. Hamilton
They
ran
also have
so
problems
well.
in the pit stalls.
Mm-hmm.
The 2012 McLaren, there's a lot of reverb going on.
I'll try and
But season was just basically McLaren had the best car, but I don't know what was happening in the pit stalls, and I don't know what was happening in Hamilton's engine, because every time he got the lead, the engine would blow.
Yep. Pit stalls and bad reliability is what
So-
hurt that car.
Yeah. Other than that, he would have had a legit challenge.
So we will see in a couple of weeks whether or not, more than likely, Hamilton will clinch the championship. If not, it will go on to the next race, obviously. But more than likely, Lewis Hamilton will be your champion in 2021. Or in 2020 and 2021, for that matter. But we still have to decide a champion in NASCAR. And we're going to do our nearest the win picks before we get out of here. Christopher, and we'll pick winner and champion just to make it interesting. Christopher has Harvick winning the race, but Elliott finishing second and winning the championship. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski ran extremely well here in the fall or in the spring in the last race before the Rona. They've been very strong, or they've been really strong in the 750 horsepower package the entire season. I'm going to take Joey Logano to win the race and the championship on Sunday. So Joey Logano becomes a 2-time champion.
I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin winning the race and the championship. I think he finally gets his championship this year.
Let me make sure it's a 2-time champion. I want to make sure I get his championship right. I think it's going to be 2-time if he wins this time.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so cool. So yeah, Logano's going to be a 2-time champion at the end of this. So that is our picks. And hey guys, remember to keep it locked to all our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out the website, www.isportsradio.com. And if you want to get in touch with us, the host, Christopher's at Fiji Sims. Michael's at Michael_War25. I'm at DK Jr. 12. We've got more virtual hydroplanes coming up this week. Twitch.tv/Tornado Dash. We're going to come in from Miami for the Tropical Cup. That'll be starting at 7:30 on Twitch.tv/Tornado Dash. So come see if Cody Gwill can continue his hot streak and see if I can continue my momentum after winning my first career Saturday Night Hydroplane heat of the year, and of course in my career as well. And of course, you're going to hear me ramble on for motorsports. You're only going to have one more opportunity to do it. That's going to be next Tuesday, the season finale of Two Wide Tuesday, which will come to you live at 2 p.m. on at WBGR Sports. Also, giving them a follow at WBGR Sports on Twitter. But that'll do it. For Christopher and Michael, I'm Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.